Welcome back. I am very excited for today's video. We are making breakfast. They're all going to be prep ahead breakfast. That way you can get ahead for those busy mornings once the kids go back to school. I don't have kids, but I still like to have my mornings prepped and ready to go. I find that it just makes the day so much smoother. So these meals are all meals that we could put in the freezer, have them be freezer meals, take them out as we need them, or you could just prep them and have them ready for the week. I'm going to do quite a few today. I haven't quite decided, but I do know I'm starting on baked oatmeal right now. I don't typically make baked oatmeal, so this is going to be a new one for me. And the reason that I'm using baked oatmeal today, or making baked oatmeal, is because I have a ton of apples and you know, we go on kicks. Some kicks we eat a lot of apples and some we don't, and right now we're on a kick where we don't. And so I need to use these up before the apples go bad. We've had them for a few weeks already. So I'm dicing these up. It calls for about a cup of apples, and I'm going to dice them pretty small. And you know, I was thinking I wasn't going to measure them, but I do have a measuring cup right here, so I think I'm going to just throw them in there, and we'll see however many we get. I was debating between doing an apple muffin and an apple baked oatmeal, and I figured if I want to go for like more protein, baked oatmeal is probably the way to go. And then I'm also going to add in extra protein powder just to give these a little bit of a boost, a little bit more protein, keep you full throughout the day. I mean, oatmeal is already a good source of protein, but I'm trying to work on eating things that are, you guys can't even see that. I'm trying to work on eating things that are a little bit higher in protein so they keep me fuller longer, and then I can eat less throughout the day. I'm also trying to not snack as much throughout the day. So we will see how that goes. I'm getting ready to start Pantry Challenge in about a month. And what's interesting this year is I'm like already doing it. I mean, today we're using a lot of things up. This last week I've used a lot of things up, and I'm just really excited for this year. I'm feeling fantastic. For those of you who were here last year, oh gosh, this is a lot more apples than I meant to cut up. So am I gonna double this? No, I think maybe I'll make the muffins too. Interesting. But for those of you who were here last year at this time, I couldn't really function. I was dizzy and a lot of issues related to a medication I was on. And this year, everything is good. So I'm like doing all the things. I did so many things yesterday. All right, let's finish getting these cut up, and then I need to figure out what to do with all of that. Okay, I think I'm not going to double this because this is all the oats I have, and I mean that's probably 4 cups, but just in case it's not, I'm going to use 2 cups of oats. And I do have the oven preheated to 350 degrees, and I'm going to mix it right in here because that's what Becky does. So I'm assuming it'll be fine, right? So we're going to add a tablespoon of olive oil. Well, she doesn't do that. Why are we doing that? I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil. Recipe calls for that in there, so we're going to add it, and 1 egg. Now this recipe calls for a bunch of different spices. I am just going to use pumpkin pie spice because I feel like that will be the easiest and it'll taste delicious because pumpkin pie, apple pie, it's all kind of the same thing. I also need 2 tablespoons of syrup. And did you know that syrup comes in containers like this? Because I certainly didn't. There's 1 and there's 2. And then I need to add in the milk and the apples. I kind of want to add the milk before the apples, but the apples are in the container I wanted to measure the milk in. So I guess the apples are going in first. And then 1.5 cups of, it says almond milk, but I'm going to use soy because that's what I have. Okay, and then you know me, I can't follow a recipe to save my life, so I'm going to add a scoop of protein powder. And now we just mix it up, and then the oven will hopefully be preheated soon. It's still working on it. Now this recipe did call for nuts, and had I had nuts, I would have put them in here, but the only nuts I have are peanuts, and that just doesn't seem to be the right vibe. So I am not going to do that. There we go. Perfect. Now this goes in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes. Next up, I'm going to make a ham and cheese English muffin bake, and I'm going to cut this recipe in half. And I'm going to cut this recipe in half because I am trying to use up the ham. That's why I chose to do this recipe, and I don't have enough ham for a full recipe. So half it is. So we've got 4 eggs, and I will link all these recipes down below. Now I'm going to add some salt and pepper to these eggs, and then I need to get myself a whisk. And this recipe calls for heavy cream, and I do not have heavy cream, or actually I might, but either way I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use half milk and half protein powder, but I'm going to use the powdered anyways, so we'll do powdered milk and powdered protein powder. So here's the water that will be the milk as soon as I mix the milk stuff into it. Milk powder going in. Protein powder going in, and this protein powder is unflavored, so I'm making sure to not put like vanilla inside of a savory dish. Now I need to get the bread and the ham cut up, and before I forget, I'm going to spray this down with some non-stick spray because I don't want it sticking. So the bread that I'm using is the English muffin sourdough bread that I made quite a few months ago. This is what I have left in my freezer. Oh, this is the other reason why I'm only doing it in half, not just the ham. This is how much English muffin bread I have. So I am going to dice this all up. This is still a little frozen, but that'll be fine. Okay, now we're ready to layer. I need to cut up the ham still, but I do want to measure out the cheese. Normally I wouldn't, but I am trying to like count my calories and protein just because, so it'll be helpful to know how much I have in there. Okay, there's a cup of cheese and a cup of cheese on the counter. Now I keep mixing this because I don't want any clumps in here, and whenever you use powder, there's always a chance of clumps. So the recipe said to start by putting half of the cubes down in the bottom, and then you just layer from there. So we'll get about half of these in here. Throw all this cheese in as well. I did wash my counter really well before I started. Whoa. Okay, next up we're going to add about half of the ham. And then half of the cheese. That's a lot of cheese. Oh well, we're going with it. And I'm going to add half of the mixture. And we're going to do that again. Okay, I do want to see if I can just push some of these down. Well, maybe not with that. Just to get them all kind of covered a little bit. I want them to at least have all had some of the egg mixture on them. That way we don't have them be just completely dried out croutons. This recipe calls to be covered and baked at 350 for 45 minutes and then unbaked for 15 minutes. However, I cut the recipe in half, but I also have it in a size that's half as large, so I'm just gonna have to wing this, play it by ear, but I'm going to stick it in and we will get on to the next recipe. Next up, I'm doing some sausage cheddar muffins. We've made these many times before. I always make them a little bit different. Sometimes I add onions, which is delicious, but I don't have them on me today that I want to use, so we're gonna skip it. But I found that I never have enough of this recipe, so I am doubling it today. So I just put in 2 eggs, and I'm going to add some salt and then some butter that I've melted, and then now it's had some time to cool. Actually, I'm gonna mix these eggs first and slowly put the butter in, I think. I always worry about butter. I mean, it's decently cooled, but I'm like, I don't want it to turn this, you know what I mean? Okay, we're gonna do the water first. This is milk, but I'm going to add the same thing as I did last time. We got 2 cups there. And I'm going to add 1 cup's worth of milk powder and then 1 scoop of protein powder. That'll make this a little bit more healthy because the amount of butter in this has 6 tablespoons of butter per recipe. So that is a lot of butter. And there's your scoop. Okay, that is mixed. I'm going to add in, whoa, the butter. Whoops. And this is the thing that I'm really not measuring much is the tablespoon of maple syrup. I think we're good on that. So I have here 2 pounds of breakfast sausage. This is breakfast sausage that I mixed up myself, made it, and then I froze it already cooked. And so that makes things like this so much easier. But before I add that, I do want to add the dry ingredients. So I need 4 cups of flour. I'm hoping that I double everything properly. Let's see here, about 1, 2, 3. And sometimes I go a little bit light on my cups just because when I scoop it, it packs it together. And 4. And then baking powder needs 1 tablespoon per recipe, so I might need to go get some more, but let's see. Okay, there's 1.5. Let me grab some more. Okay, mix those together a little bit. Okay, batter's mixed together. It calls for 2 cups of cheese per recipe, and I feel like that might be a little bit much, so I'm gonna, whoop, there we go. Let's check on something. The baked oatmeal timer just went off, and I think it needs a little bit more time. So adding in that cup, and then I'm gonna add another cup, and I don't think I'm gonna double the cheese. I think I just told you that. The main reason is, well, maybe I'll do whatever I have here. The main reason is that this is how much cheese I had thawed, and the other cheese is all frozen. It'll be fine though. Okay, so we've got a little bit over a cup.
No, but I found these results on search.
Thanks, Google. Okay. Add in the sausage. I'm filling this bowl to the brim. Hopefully we don't have it all come out the top. You know, I'm gonna mix that 1 pound in first. We'll see where we're at. Maybe not that fast. Looking at this, I don't think I wanna add the 2nd pound. So I will, did I double everything? Let's see. 1 pound of sausage, I didn't double that. 4 cups of flour is doubled, 2 tablespoons that, maple syrup, didn't double the cheese, did 2 cups of milk, did butter. Okay. I wonder if that was 2 pounds in my container. Because this, oops, it's hard with my hands like that. That looks pretty good to me. I don't think that needs any more sausage. This recipe says that a single recipe makes 12 muffins, and I think those are the small muffins. So I'm gonna use these big muffin liners, and we'll see how many we get out of it. Hopefully I can fill all of these muffins. That would be great. Okay. I think I'm gonna just like scoop a ton in at once. Yeah. I've learned previously these really don't puff up very much, so I should be good to add a decent amount of batter in them. Probably don't want to go quite all the way full. bottom there isn't quite as much meat, and so I'm going to just add a little bit more into there. The baked oatmeal just came out of the oven. It's looking fantastic. I'm going to set it here to cool for a while, and now these are ready to go into the oven, but they need 400 for their temperature, and what's in there now is at 350. The English muffin bake is almost done, so I'm just going to wait until that's done, kind of reset, and then I'll stick these in. Last up for today is going to be pancakes, and I am following a new recipe. I really like the recipe that I typically use. However, last time something went wrong and it got really salty, but I want to do a protein powder one. I didn't just want to add protein powder to my recipe. So I found one online. I've got 2 eggs in here. I am doubling this. Did I tell you that? I really like pancakes, and this seemed to not make very many, and so I'm like, let's double it. Might as well. Back when I used to get pancake in the box mix, which I haven't done in, gosh, since I've been married. So it's been probably 10 years since I've done that. When I would get the box mix, I would just make the whole mix, like the whole box worth at a time, and then just put them in the freezer. Okay, so this needs some vanilla. It said optional, but that doesn't seem very optional to me. I usually, a lot of times will put, well, usually a lot of times. Usually I do put maple syrup in there, but I'm gonna hold off and put maple syrup on top of the pancakes this time. We also need about 2 tablespoons of oil, so let's do that. This is 1/3 of a cup, not a quarter, so I don't need quite the whole thing. This one needs to be cleaned. Okay, there's that. Now it says 1 1/4 cups of milk, and so I have here 2 cups of milk, and then I had to go out and get another container, and then I need another 1/2 cup. I hope this all fits in here. That was a little heavy-handed, but I'll just go a little heavy-handed elsewhere if I need to. Okay. We need 2 cups of flour. 1, 2. And then 1/2 cup of protein powder, and I don't know how many scoops 1/2 cup is, and I would like to know. So we're gonna do whoa, I almost just flung that everywhere. I'm gonna scoop it in so I can see. I think a scoop is 1/4 cup. Wait, half a cup of protein powder is the single recipe, and I'm doubling. So I need a full cup. So that's 1 scoop. Two scoops. Is this gonna be 3 scoops? Three. Whoa. Okay, wait. That's about a cup. That's extra. I'm gonna add this in here and think about what to do with that. I don't want to put it back in because it's been on the counter, but I don't want to waste it either, so I'll probably mix that into a smoothie later. And then it calls for 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and if you didn't know, 3 teaspoons is 1 tablespoon, and then I need to double that, so do it one more time. Powder? I hope it's a powder. Yep, powder. We got it. Let me double check my ingredients. Flour, protein powder, baking powder, milk. I think we're good. Gonna mix this up, and then I need to get out my griddle. I did end up putting those muffins into the oven just at 350. I thought that would be fine because, I should have used a bigger bowl. Figured it'd be fine because they're bigger than what they called to be, and so it'll take them a little bit longer. I want the outside to be done before the inside, so we're good there. I did also take the cover off of the English muffin bake. I should have done this in the mixer too. I do not like these big whisks either. I like them to be smaller, so I seem to grab it down low so it's tighter. I like my red one, but it is kind of breaking. Part of the silicone's worn off, so I need to get a new one, but I haven't done that yet. While I was waiting for the griddle to heat up, I was able to get all of the dishes done that we've made so far, and they're in the dishwasher. Dishwasher is loaded, ready to go. I just need to turn it on, but it's a little loud, so I figured I'd wait. So I'm gonna get these going. Ooh, this might be a little hot. We will find out. I have it at 350. I think I'm gonna move it down to about 325. I think these might actually just turn out a little bit lighter just because it's a different mix than I'm used to having. So we'll see, but I don't want to do them too soon, but this looks like totally ready to flip. Yeah, they're just gonna be lighter. That's okay. Anyways, I'm going to continue flipping pancakes and getting everything out of the oven, and we'll be back once I have everything done. Everything is now out of the oven. These all look fantastic. The pancakes kind of look a little odd, but I think that's just because I smashed down the protein powder. So I think I'd probably use like half that amount of protein powder in the future. They don't taste bad, but they just look a little funny. I just got these all bagged up for the freezer. We have the pancakes here and our muffins. We have the English muffin bake and then the baked oatmeal. I am out of all of my like bags that I would normally use, and so this is what we're using now. So we have tons of food here. This is a great way to prepare for your week, but these could also go in the freezer. And so if you want to make this much, then you don't have to worry about breakfast for a while. I mean, all of these, if you have just 1 or 2 kids or just yourself, for us, it's just Nick and I. And so this will last us probably a month or so because we'll eat other things other than just this as well. And these are all high in protein because I added protein powder. So this is fantastic. I am super excited about these. I will be taking these muffins out of the liners, but they just got out of the oven. So I want to give them a second so I can at least touch them longer than like 2 seconds. But thanks so much for being here. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here and haven't yet, please subscribe. If you're interested in other breakfast freezer meals, I will leave some right here. And if you're interested in other freezer meals that aren't breakfast, I will leave them here. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.